Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Just tell me when.
Whenever you're ready, you have anything you need to share screens
Wonderful.
or no?
I did, but I had a baby almost 4 months ago, and it just did not end up getting together in time.
I understand entirely. So
Yeah, I had a
congratulations on
wonderful
surviving.
slideshow for everyone. Just use your imaginations and
All right, then I will shut up and let you take it over. It's all yours now.
thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Alanna Linayre of Toad House Games. We're an indie visual novel studio that develops games with mental health, accessibility, and authenticity in mind. Forgive me for reading from my notes. Like I said, I had a baby almost 4 months ago. So when I say my brain is Swiss cheese, let me tell you. So I'll be looking down, but it's just because I'm reading my notes. Forgive me. I'm also the person that organized the Palestinian bundle on Itch that raised almost $1 million for food and mental health aid in Palestine. So mental health really is a core of like everything I do. Taking care of our gamers is near and dear to everything. So that includes writing respectfully without aiming to harm. And as I only have 5 minutes or so, I have 3 quick tips for if you'd like to do the same. One is remember who you're writing for. Many games with difficult topics, such as mental health, are trying to show a player what it feels like to live as a person who deals with whatever the issue is at hand. So if it's OCD, it's trying to like put them in the mindset of a person who has OCD, or if it's hallucinations, they make the player have hallucinations. These games are important and great, but also we can write games for people who already know what it's like to experience hardship and make them feel seen. Those games are equally as important. So when writing a triggering scene for people who have experienced what we're writing about and therefore can be triggered by it, we must write mindfully as to not make people relive something painful. So how do we do that? We focus on the emotion. There's no need to graphically describe what a suicide attempt looks like if you're writing to an audience that already knows and has been there. Instead, focus on the character's feelings, as those are universal. So write the physical reaction to things, like if the character's mouth gets dry or if they feel an adrenaline rush. Trust that your audience will follow your breadcrumbs, particularly if your audience is those who know what this stuff feels like. If it's for the other group, then sure, put them in the mindset of it. But if you're writing for people who already know what this feels like, there's no need to get so graphic. We get it. Second is take care of your player. In Good Lookin' Home Cookin', which is a game we released, I think 2 years ago now, maybe sometime, Amira self-harms. She's then taken care of by Kenta. He sees her hitting herself, and then he asks, I don't want you to feel bad that it happened. I'm sure you already feel terrible, but I don't want it to happen again. So can we please talk about it? And then he listens to her without judgment. So this is important because I've gotten so many messages about how Kenta handles the situation. From they wish that people radically accepted them in real life when they were caught doing something like that, to it was cathartic for them to like live via Amira and have Kenta say those things to them, and it kind of healed a part of them, to people who were in Kenta's side of things and have had friends self-harm, and then Kenta, now they kind of know how to handle the situation better because Kenta gave them a role model to look up to, and gave them almost like a script to follow that was better than, it's a sticky, difficult situation. So it's nice to, even if it's referring to a game, to have some sort of a script to go by in these situations, and they were grateful for that. So not only are you taking care of your gamers, but you're keeping in mind my final tip, which is remember the fantasy. So every game has a core fantasy. Detective games are an intellectual superpower fantasy. Shooters are like a strength hero fantasy. At Toad House Games, one of our common fantasies is feeling safe and seen. Many people never feel this way in real life, so they turn to media like games, movies, etc., but games. So to make my players feel safe and seen, I take care of my characters in a way I assume my player would appreciate and want, like how Kenta took care of Amira. Throwing the gamer into a painful memory doesn't really fall into that fantasy. So that's like a gut check. Does this follow my fantasy? So if you're writing, I don't know, I can't think of an example because my brain is Swiss cheese, like a PTSD thing, right? And you've got the hallucinations, blah, blah, blah. Does this make my player feel safe and seen, or does it feel exploitative? Would it feel validating to see this as a person who's experienced this, or would it feel like a betrayal? Another game that we made, and then it has issues, so I took it down, so you can't buy it right now, but I'm going to patch it and revamp it. I think I released it too early, to be honest. Is a Roll for Confidence, and the main character is a trans woman. And so I made sure that no one misgendered her the whole game, because that's not safe and seen. Yes, it can be accurate, but we don't need to re-traumatize. Like those details aren't nearly as important as the feeling that she gets when she talks to this group and that group. So remember your audience and remember your core fantasy. Oh, so to recap, remember your audience, take care of them, and remember your core fantasy of your game. There we are. Thank you for your time. Again, sorry I have no graphics. I promise the intention was there, but a baby is a lot of work. Any questions?
All right, questions, folks. I'm just amazed that the kid is not sleeping 3 hours through the night. I just remember that part.
Not 2 hours, nothing.
Right?
The kid doesn't
Exactly.
sleep.
So I'm just amazed that you've done this. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so you guys, question. I'm like, everyone else is also saying like baby is a lot of work and clapping. So
thank you. He's really cute, so it's great, but also, oh my God, I want sleep.
Yeah, eventually you will celebrate when they sleep through like 6 hours a night. I literally celebrated when that happened.
I will. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh my God, there's a lot of comments. I'm trying to like parse them. Is there any questions in there? Just people, a lot of them are like
that's what I'm in right now. The 4-month sleep regression has nothing to do with video games. Of course I read that. I know, he's not sleeping at all. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, here's a question. Do you have a formal process to check that you've succeeded at your goals?
Yes. So I hire sensitivity writers and cultural consultants for every game that we do, which is part of the reason why I pulled down Roll for Confidence, because for Good Looking Home Cooking, I had a team of like 20. For Roll for Confidence, I only had about 6. So I missed a lot. There was nothing like triggering in Roll for Confidence. It was just a weak game. It kind of felt like an after school special the way it was, like it didn't hit home. It felt very fluffy when it shouldn't have been. But that team of people who basically play test the game looking for those specific things. I write up a questionnaire of like, this is what we were aiming for, this is this. And then there's always a question at the end of like, did you see anything that didn't feel authentic to you? Did you feel like at any point, did we lean into a stereotype too much? Or is there something that I, as the person I am versus you who is living this, know that I don't, that I put into the game accidentally? So basically biases, right? And that usually covers a lot of it. The other thing is just like the gut check of making sure it's amazing because we all live different lives. Like no one's life is the same, but all of our emotions are the same. And whether it's like this much or this much, the emotion is exactly the same. Trauma is trauma and suffering is suffering. So most people can relate, most adults can relate to all emotions. So as long as you really nail down what it's like to feel something, most people will take that as opposed to like the little details that maybe I messed up on, but then they'll forgive those because the feeling was so real. You know what I mean?
Okay, so there's a couple of questions there, but I'm gonna pick one out for time. So how do you conduct finding primary sources for difficult subjects?
Well, at first I excavated from my own life, like Call Me Sarah, which is wishlistable on Steam. Sarah is Cera, and that's our next big game that was supposed to come out last year, but then I had a baby instead. That was heavily based on me moving from New York to Austin and the time that like the whole thing I went through with that and the therapy I went through. So a lot of it's from real life. Some of it's just I love people watching. So I'll see a situation, I'll find it really interesting, and then it's almost like writing real life fan fiction from real life. Like I wonder what those people are like, and then you make it up in your head, and then you get conflicts. It's a lot of people watching, and then just I've lived a million lives and I've worked a million jobs, so it's amazing what you pull from real life.
Cool. And then, all right, let's do one last one here. Like, where do you draw the line between accuracy and the feeling of safety? if you want to go for a gritty real experience?
Safety is most important. Why would you traumatize your gamers? Like it always wins. So gritty is great, but real life is hard enough. So if you're trying to give your players that seen and safe experience, you can trust that if they know what that feels like, you don't have to explain it to them. They've lived it, they get it. It's so much more important to take care of your gamer and make sure you're not traumatizing people. Like these are video games. It's supposed to be fun. If they want to get traumatized, they can go out into the real world. The real world's so hard. It's the same thing as like punishing kids, right? Like people think that, oh, I need to be hard on my kid because I need to get them ready for the real life. Like my parents were like that. I think that your home and therefore like the games you play, like the things that you decide to do should not coddle you, but like they should be softer because real life is so hard. Why make it harder on yourself? Like there's enough things in real life that will traumatize you and that will upset you. So I won't do that to my player. I will be truthful, but their safety is always top priority.
All right, I'm just going to throw in Jimmy's comment about throwing babies at the IRS. That just had to be in there. But thank you so much. There are a couple more questions in the chat. I'm sure you can get to them.
Sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. Echo Berry. I remember.